All right, well, I'm just checking out our purchase, and we spent all our money buying this, all of it, and then some. So my wife and I are both working full time. We don't have any kids. I work additionally part-time job, and we moved to California from upstate New York, and let's see. I'll keep it politically neutral somehow. California is awesome. There's a lot of things to do. There's too many people. There's too much traffic. There's too much stuff. So we bought this to kind of escape those problems. And I figured, look at all this land I got. I could do anything I want here. I can avoid people. In fact, some of that stuff there was actually the previous owners. We hadn't even closed the purchase yet. Now we are officially moved in here. I'm just looking at what we got. You can see I don't really do a whole lot of documentation inside the house because my projects have been outside, but this is 5.5 acres. It was pretty stinking expensive compared to other places in the country, I'd imagine, but as far as California goes, we got a pretty good deal because it's a fixer-upper. That in the distance there is my neighbor's property. The weedy one is the one that I just bought with weeds everywhere. So this is our first morning. We're going to take a ride. I mean, literally, we moved in the night before, and this is the very first morning we wake up in our newly purchased house. We did have a house, like I said, in the neighborhood, and it was nice. You know, I spent about 4 years fixing that one up, and we basically doubled our money on that. So I walked away with about 200 grand cash and threw every dollar of that into this purchase. I brought all my dirt bikes. They all sat outside for like a few months before I got stuff unpacked and got them in the garage. And that truck I had shown right there, it's a pretty rare, like I'm buckling up. I don't buckle up anymore. I mean, of course I do. But that truck right there is a Hummer H3T Alpha. I'm an automotive teacher and do a lot of automotive work. So that truck it took me forever to find it. That truck sat outside for 4 years, and the paint is just nuked, and it gets pretty hot here. Paint's flaking, clear as shot. This is an amazing property, like way beyond what I ever thought I would obtain. But you know, we've worked pretty hard and been smart with our money, and you can do anything. United States. I mean, I'm not going to say everybody can have everything, but if you get an opportunity, you could do it. So we bought this, and you know, looking back, I have advice for people because now I have some experience. Look at all this trash, boards left out, and railroad ties, and pipe, and stuff, and junk. But you know, to buy in this location with 5.5 acres, this is what we bought. We bought a major fixer-upper, trash right there, just garbage. But basically, I know now how much work things are going to be, and how much time and how much money it's going to cost. So I'm kind of looking back at this video. It's over 4 years old now. So we bought our first house and sold it in the first 4 years, and then this one we've been here a little over 4. We're coming up on 10 years in California, and things in California are very different. Look on the left here how clean that property is, and then look on the right at how much of a disaster this is. To me, it didn't really bother me when I moved. You know, I knew what it was like in upstate New York to have a little bit of land, and you just kind of leave it raw and wild. So I just figured, well, whatever, it's just some weeds. I'll mow it down or whatever. But the problem here in California is all that stuff there that's green in another month or two is going to be dry, brown fuel for a fire. And about a month or two after this video, we had a horrific fire, and they couldn't really put it out. It was spreading rapidly. The fire department was at our house. They actually kicked us out. The sheriff came through and knocked us out. And we realized real quick, talking to the fire department, we can't keep these weeds, so it took me like a year to really get this place cleaned up. And that includes the pond here. So the pond looks sweet because it's full, but it wasn't on a fill. That was just rainwater that had filled it up, and it hadn't evaporated yet. There was trees and roots and damage, and these trees on the right side were all crooked, and just there's a lot of problems. So my main point of this channel is to show my project build. I call it garage house because it's more of a garage than it is a house. But also just to show, you can't build something like that in the neighborhood. You got to buy some acreage, and acreage in the upstate New York, where I came from, and acreage in California is real different. This was a lot of work, a lot of roundup, a lot of weed whacking, a lot of scraping with the tractor. Um, 5.5 acres is not a ton of land. It's kind of small compared to a lot of other places, but in California, that's a lot. 260,000 square feet is a lot when they're selling houses with 10,000 square foot lots. So you look, these trees on the left, kind of a mess, weeds all over the place, weeds on the right. When it would rain, water would come ripping through here. It would spill across the driveway, leading mud, and this soil here is more like decomposed granite. Cool landscaping in some areas. And the house was pretty much on the money. I mean, needed a little help. I yanked all the carpet out and tiled it, but really the house wasn't my main project. It was the property and the construction and the improvements like drainage. I took all that mulch out and rock gardened it, fixed a million sprinklers. Problem is, right now I'm $500 a month in water to do 130 fruit trees, and we're connected to the municipal water. So just recently did a well. I don't have a pump yet because of Build Back Better, baby. I can't get a pump. It's 3 months back ordered. They can't get the material to build it. Apparently, it's on a cargo ship at the port. So, I got a lot of wisdom on this now that I've done it, and I didn't have somebody do it. If I were to make a recommendation for someone, I would say you need to have more money than I have to do this, because it would have been much more enjoyable for me to hire a laborer 2 days a week, have a laborer come and work 2 days a week, weed whacking and cleaning and fixing that broken pipe and all the many broken pipes, and cutting those trees down and digging the roots out and grading stuff. And you look back here, it's just, there's a lot of work. And so I figured if I could have paid, laborers right now, it's 2021, they're about $150 for a generally non-skilled guy to show up and work for a day, and probably not going to get 8 hours out of them. Probably going to be six. Probably going to be get some stuff done. They won't get as much as I get done in a day, but honestly, for about $300 a week, I could have saved myself a lot of trouble. But you're talking $1,200 a month to have somebody do the work rather than you. So I don't know, I just lay that stuff out there. But 5 acres like that, you're probably going to need somebody 2 days a week to get it back. Now, once I get it back, maybe I could go with 1 day a week, or maybe even one every 2 weeks, figure 2 times a month. But to be taking this stuff down and digging trenches to drain water and putting in culverts and, stuff like that, you'll see, I'll put up a later video of drainage problems. Right here, all this junk wood, I thought that's where I was going to build the garage. So I was really fixated on that corner. And then when I realized what it was really going to take, on the left here, there's kind of a hill. I ended up leveling off that hill. And I say me, I had to bring in a grader. We leveled that hill off and got a huge pad, like 100 by 100. And that's where we ended up building. But this project has been, I'm going to tell you for real, even for me, a lot of work. And I'm not shy of doing work. But there's been a lot of work, a lot of money, getting this to really be what it should be. But now I've got a clean property. I'm not worried about fire. I've got a fire tank on standby. I've got a good producing well as soon as I get the pump in, a couple spots for fire hoses, a big garage shop where I can take care of all the projects I need to take care of. I can park my stuff inside. The garage is also a house for my wife's parents. So we've got kind of like generational living. A property like this now, in the state I bought it in compared to now, we're up a lot. I mean, not counting the inflation in the market, that garage and improvements has increased at about $500,000, so like 500,000, and I've done it for probably 3 to 350, with a lot of work on me. So kind of looking back, I graded out this driveway, I put in the gravel, I've done a lot of stuff, a lot of underground pipe repair, adding electricity to certain places it should be. I ripped that pond all apart and lined it, cut the trees out, put rocks in, regraded a lot of problem areas, got rid of all the weeds, keep the weeds down to nothing. We don't have any real problem with fire in the future, and pretty much, and got the whole thing running off of solar because our electric bill is high running the AC, and now we got the two buildings. So I pretty much have this close to dialed now. So really the purpose of the channel, I'm going to bring you through what I've done, what it took, where it was then, where it is now, approximate costs, and how much work it was. So stay tuned.